Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Today is Monday. Welcome back to the Matthew Guillen Network. Should I call it that? MGN? I was thinking, like, I gotta title this show something, right? If I'm gonna be doing it, like, every night, I gotta give it, like, episode numbers, and eventually, have it set as my own show name. And I already have MGN pretty much claimed everywhere. I do like those initials, so I will be keeping them. And, I think I will name it that. It sounds cool. I don't know. Maybe I'm stealing it from something like Tucker Carlson Network, TCN. You can do MGN because the N doesn't really fit. I'll explain how I got this name, like the Guillen MGN name. I'll explain all that in maybe some separate video, or maybe I'll do it later. I don't know. Rambling on, I know. Just trying to wait you guys to get in here. So we do got a lot to talk about tonight. We will be discussing more developments in Venezuela and Maduro's arrest. We will also be talking about Chrystia Freeland, our favorite deputy prime minister. She's betraying us. She's leaving to Ukraine. We're going to miss her. She was the best economic advisor we had, or Ministry of Transportation, whatever she did. I don't know what she did, but she did it good to the point that she had to resign. Hey, kudos to her. She was one of the first to step down from Trudeau's administration, which eventually broke. How do I say it? It eventually ended up self-destructing in the end, the Trudeau regime, to the point where he had to resign in January last year. Was it last year? I think it was, yeah. She resigned in December. Trudeau resigns in January upon pressure from Trump. Trump takes office January 20th, right? And then we got our elections in, what was it, April? We were supposed to get Pierre Poilievre in power, but Trump started putting tariffs everywhere, and liberals are anti-Trump, anti-conservative, of course. They decided to vote in Mark Carney. Mark Carney appoints Chrystia Freeland as Ministry of Transportation, so she's back, kind of. And then, well, she ends up resigning pretty recently. We did cover that. Now she's gone over to Europe, and we'll discuss what her new role is and what this means for your meme coins. After that, we will also be talking about some more accumulation from the big boys, BitMine, MicroStrategy, American Bitcoin, and also, what else was I going to talk about? Ledger got hacked. That's it. We'll be discussing all that in more detail tonight, so it should be a good one. We've been on the rise. Today was a great day. We made a new local top. Yep. We haven't seen this high level since our lowest bottom at 80,000. I get PTSD from looking at this because that is where I got liquidated, but that's not a big deal. We're here to make our money back, and I'm not even in it to make the money back. Don't worry. I will wait for the minimum retracement to go ahead and enter, which means that I could tolerate a drop to around 90,000. That's where I'll be probably re-entering Bitcoin if we do get an opportunity like that. And we might, because I'm hearing tensions, of course, escalating in the Middle East. We know what the Middle East will do to your portfolio, so don't keep your hopes too high, right? Expect the unexpected. These guys like to act in secret, as we've seen. So, yeah. Apart from that, Bitcoin, the highest point that we hit, 94,750. I left you guys with a resistance level at 95,000. We were close enough. Every time I give you guys a price level, give it a buffer of like plus or minus $500 when it comes to Bitcoin's price. You know what? Do it for Sui's price as well. $500 difference. Yeah, even though it's worth like $2. No, I'm kidding. But yeah. We've since come down to current prices for Bitcoin is 93,780. We did do the thing with the thumbnails, by the way. 4 consecutive thumbnails in a row having the same price. This time it's looking like it might be the 93s. Yesterday was also 93,000 or almost 93,000. I don't know. I kind of cheated the system a little bit, but we were close. We were like 92,900. Come on, that's basically 93,000. We did kind of see it hit. So anyway, that's a resistance for now with Bitcoin. People are saying we're immediately going to teleport to 100,000. I think that's a little too bullish. It can happen, and we do know the reason why we have been rising. Short answer is, we talked about it extensively yesterday, Venezuela might have 600,000 bitcoins, which is about as much as BlackRock, about as much as MicroStrategy, double what the United States has, triple what China has. You know, that's a lot of bitcoins that Venezuela secretly had. How did they get it? Evading sanctions, trading with USDT and cryptocurrency, sure. Or they also, what was it? The oil profits, I think it was. And also selling gold, because they do have a lot of gold as well. They made a huge purchase of $2 billion in 2018 when Bitcoin was dirt cheap. Smart, really smart, generational trade, generational wealth, right? They turned $2 billion into, what is it now, 60 billion? I think 55 billion, that's what it was. We did the calculation at these current prices, which is pretty darn good for 600,000 Bitcoin. Crazy. Big if true, none of it is confirmed though. We obviously would have known if they had all 600,000 Bitcoin in one wallet address, which we talked about, but they might have it like scattered in smaller pieces across multiple wallets so that it's not too suspicious. Hey, now that the United States has taken over Venezuela, they're taking over their oil, they're taking over their gold, they will also take over their Bitcoin if applicable. So when we do have that Bitcoin, what's likely going to happen is we're going to dump that into our reserves, which means that another 600,000 Bitcoins will be taken out of the circulation semi-permanently, which makes Bitcoin more scarce, which will drive prices higher. I would say that that is the biggest catalyst as to why we have been rising in recent days. So it seems like this whole Venezuela takeover was a good thing. And I'm okay with it. That being said, we're still on a very healthy uptrend with Bitcoin, which invalidates at 89,000. We could tolerate a drop of 5%. Will be perfectly fine, and I will be entering guaranteed. I know I kind of missed out some chances, and I told you guys this. I would be willing to leave some money on the table, which this is the money on the table that I'm leaving right now, in order to just make sure that I'm entering at the right moment. You want to enter following the trend, right? A lot of altcoins we've noticed have already flipped their trend over, with the exception of very select few. Has Hyperliquid changed its trend? Okay, finally, Hyperliquid has flipped its trend over at last, and looks like we are following this uptrend line. I'm skipping ahead, but whatever. Let's talk about Hyperliquid. I'm done with Bitcoin. Those are your price levels. I don't expect it to hit 100,000 this week. We're very overbought. We might correct. That's my thought on Bitcoin. We could get more volatility, obviously, on Friday. That's when we get non-farm payroll data. We did get ISM manufacturing data today, which brought zero volatility. That's why I normally skip it, and I don't even understand it anyway. So, moving on. Hyperliquid is at $26.40. We did temporarily break above 27, which was the main point that I was trying to bring to your attention here. Highest point we hit today was $27.48. And we have now flipped the trend over into our favor, which this is what the uptrend now looks like, invalidating at 23.74. I like it. I will not be entering yet, though. Would probably have to wait for a drop to sub $25. Anything between $24.80 to $25 would be a great opportunity for entry. Max long, not actually, but that's what I expect for it. In terms of resistances, I don't think we should really pay attention to it right now. I'd ignore these levels because of the low volatility that Hyperliquid has had. These pivot levels are very close attached to one another. They feel easily breakable. I'd focus more on what's psychologically there, which would be 30. And we have used, of course, as previous support and previous resistance. So I'd look at that as another level, most important one. And then after that, of course, we could have a free rise to maybe 33. That's up in the upcoming weeks, though. I don't know if we're immediately going to teleport there. I wouldn't put it past it, right? We've seen Hyperliquid have some big moves in the past. Stuff like this. Stuff like that downward, too. Don't you know, kid yourself. But, yeah. Huge rises like this of 37% in the matter of 3 days. Stuff like that can happen. So I think we are kind of back. We might start doing some good rises over here, but expect a bit of a slowdown at 33 if we do manage to break $30 with good volatility this week. I'm only saying this for Hyperliquid because it's one of the few that hasn't really moved yet. It's starting to move now, like literally now. We're late to the party. but whatever. It's a good start. Ethereum, $3,213. We hit our resistance target, 3,236. The highest point we hit was 3,263. Current price is 3,213, like I said. Support level is at 3,000. That's the most important one. I would still wait for us to approach near 3,000 so that I could start buying into it. You don't want to buy up here because momentum is kind of dying out, especially as we approach this resistance. Clear price rejection over here. We didn't get a candle close above the resistance level itself, so we might start correcting a little bit. I don't expect a massive correction, but I'm still fine if we do get a massive correction. That would be my signal to enter, as long as we maintain the uptrend, of course. Negative funding rate, by the way. A lot of people are shorting. I wouldn't recommend shorting in an uptrend, but they're starting to see that the movement is starting to die out a little bit, right? So you make your own decisions. Solana is at 137. We were very close to breaking 140. I think we did. No, $139.81 was our highest today. We had a resistance right there at 139, basically. I would call that 140. I did call for that before. And we are overbought a little bit as well, so same deal. Wouldn't expect this to continue rising too much. I would be surprised if we do, and I wouldn't complain either because I do have an active position open in Solana. That is, it's at 173, dude. That's where I break even. Like, that's ever going to happen. How far is this? That's going to take a long time. Like, we're talking months. I would expect us to see a rise like this. Or maybe it happens tomorrow. You never know with the Bitcoin the crypto market. Either way, I'd wait for a drop about 7% to 125, 126. Anything below 130. No, I think that's too big of a buffer. Anything below 128 is where I'd be content with entering. So that's a 6-7% drop. Oh no, I said the thing. Yeah, anyway. Sui's having a crazy day today. Look at this rise. What do you call this chart pattern? Well, there you go. We tapped $2 that fast. That's what I love about Sui. This is the kind of volatility that I wanted to see. This is what I missed from Sui. I was tired of seeing it like just flat line over here, constantly hitting 130. It's like, what are we even doing with this darn coin? Well, here you go. You finally got rewarded if you've been in it. I have been in it, but at an even higher price. But I've got high hopes because Sui is probably the largest position that I have, 6,000. Yeah, compared to the rest, 2,800, sorry. Compared to Sui. Sui is the biggest position that I have, and it's the closest to breaking even, in my opinion. Let's see, Ethereum is $300 away, 400. Solana is $40 away, that's a little too low, $30, $40. Chainlink is, dude, I can't do math, $3 away. And Sui is, yeah, it's only from the high of $2 that we basically hit, it's another 30 cents away. That's not even that bad. 30 cents, like we just rose from 170 to $2 in a matter of 12 hours. I don't expect, obviously, for us to double that and give it to the next guy so I could break even. I wouldn't be upset at that, but it's likely. It's really likely. So we did slow down at 199, really close to the $2, which means, of course, we have a level of resistance right there at the $2 mark that I will note down. And yeah, immediately just broke past whatever this excuse of a resistance was, 183. Very, very strong uptrend on Sui. Don't even ask me where it invalidates yet. That thing is still on the rise. Crazy. I like it. But this was like a boiling, what do you call the expression? A boiling pot? It was like about to, you know, it was simmering, it was steaming, it was boiling, it was about to explode, it's about to pop, and finally we broke that resistance, the 172 you could call it, and we finally had a huge breakout. This is the kind of movements that I see. This is why we do technical analysis, which we love. Let's put that at 172. I'll leave it at 172. Although the 171, yeah, we did talk about why this level was important. It was a very long-term historical support for Sui. It's become resistance, and now we have finally broken past that. and it immediately teleported to $2 almost. Crazy good. I like it. Should I have entered? Yeah, probably. I will obviously not be entering right now. Very, very overbought. 86 RSI. No thank you. And I wouldn't even short here either, because God forbid this thing continues rising against you. Would be good, but wouldn't be good if you're shorting in an uptrend. Zcash kind of disappointed me today. I saw neutral, close to negative numbers today, which was a bit concerning. We basically dropped the price back to my average entry. Zcash is not rising. What's going on? I'm sure it'll continue rising eventually. We're still on an uptrend and we have enough space to let it run. So it's a good thing that I didn't really put any stop loss here. I would have been stopped out at nothing. I do have faith that this will continue rising. I'm still positive in my trade here. It's just going to take a while, basically. You got to be patient with it. In a span of, what do you call this, 5 days, so by end of this week, we can start seeing some fruits generated from this, if you know what I'm saying. So we'll see. My trade is still active there on Zcash. Current price of it is $4.97. We hit lowest point today was $485, which is basically where my entry is at $484. No, $485.76. That's where my entry is. Okay. Yep, I still got high hopes for Zcash. We're still good. We talked about Hyperliquid. Let's move on to Chainlink. This is what I wanted from Chainlink, but hey, looks like it just continued rising here too, which that's not too bad. $13.79 current price. The highest was $14.12. I mentioned the resistance at 14. Seems like we did indeed slow down there. Didn't close a candle above it, so there's some selling pressure over here. RSI is also pretty overbought. So I would also expect a bit of a slowdown, potentially toward pivot level, which is at 13. BitTensor on the rise as well, very strong. Uptrend invalidates at, we'll call this 230. That's where you got a good support level for BitTensor. Current price is 269. We're currently close to making high points. 272.93 was our highest today. I'd mainly focus on that resistance though at 285. Most important one. We still got it in us to run up another 5% maybe to approach that target. Wouldn't surprise me. Given that how the rest of the market, I'm expecting it to move, I would expect this first from BitTensor as a drop of maximum 7% to around 250, reaccumulate, and start rising again so that we have enough momentum to not be overbought until we reach that 285 level. That's my optimal situation for it. Would I be entering at this price? Absolutely not. If anything, if plan A fails, I'll do plan B, where if it drops over here, this is where I'll be buying. Because we'd still be in an uptrend and you'd be getting it at the best possible price without compromising the trend, right? So that's what I would like to see for BitTensor. Wondrous. Moving on to Aptos. 195. Can we hit $2 yet? It's pretty odd, the fact that Sui and Aptos are literally at the same price. 194, 195. And Aptos is supposed to be usually double the price of whatever Sui is. On average, sometimes. Barely, maybe double is an exaggeration. I'd say 1.5x of whatever Sui is worth is what Aptos' price typically was in the past. Last year, we're talking, right? If Sui was $3, Aptos would be $5. You know, something like that. The fact that they're both at the same price, it's either Sui is very overbought or Aptos is very oversold still, even at these prices. It's still got its potential to continue higher. Both are inflationary, so I would cancel both of those out. Ignore that from the question. We're not talking about how high we can reach with these. You're obviously not going to hit the highest price points that we've hit in the past due to its inflationary nature. But what you can see instead from these is a good potential, like a catch-up, right? They have to come back to whatever they were worth in correlation to one another, right? If Sui is going to be worth $2, Aptos better be worth $3, right? I'm just saying, man, Aptos has still got really good potential. And obviously still a psychological level of $2 as its resistance. Very similar setup to what we're seeing with Sui over here. The uptrend invalidates at 176. I'd buy at sub 180 for Aptos. Still waiting for a bit of a drop there. Lovely. Okay. That's all we have for our analysis. Let's get into the news. This is what concerns me the most, and it might happen this week. Hard might. We don't know for sure, by the way. This is an Iranian official probably spreading fear. Like, oh no, help us. We're about to get attacked. Having a sip of tea. The US and Israel can launch a joint military operation against Iran in the next 72 hours, says the Middle East sources. It was also confirmed by another Iranian official. The protests that are going on over there right now seem to be like the perfect storm, this pressure, so that, you know, we can get regime change in Iran. Netanyahu visited Donald not too long ago, a week or two ago, and Trump already said, yep, we're giving them the green light to go ahead and attack Iran again. We know that Israel wants to attack Iran again, so it's going to happen again soon. If this does happen, we already know what to expect. A big fat drop in the crypto market, a big fat rise in gold and oil. And I've got this little theory in the back of my mind. Maybe that's why we didn't see a huge drop in oil, because the fact that the United States has seized the most amount of oil that a country can offer to the world, Venezuela, they now have the power to drop prices, right? What they're going to do instead, though, is, because the process takes long, that's why we don't have an immediate drop in the prices of oil, because we could just increase the supply. We don't care about OPEC or none of what they have to offer in terms of controlling the supply, the global supply. So we could have tanked prices, but we're going to instead have our companies benefit, which is why Chevron and ExxonMobil have been on the rise today. I want to see if I could find that one post. Here you are. ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, and Chevron are going to be the main benefiters of what's been going on in Venezuela, because these companies can now move their businesses over there, use that oil, and, well, they'll get rich as a business because they have a lot of oil to sell. And probably at a cheaper price too. I don't know. Depends on what they do, right? So I want to as well look at their charts. And the reason I bring this up is the fact that oil prices have not really been dropping too hard. Rather, they've been sort of stabilizing and maybe even rising for today. We're kind of also in anticipation that something may go down in the Middle East, and prices tend to rise in that scenario because, I don't know, Iran has a lot of oil as well. And, well, if there's, I don't know, if there's no more Iran, oil becomes scarce. Something like that. Can't really explain it, but whatever. So those are the two things that I've noticed from this. Moving on. Oh, I was going to also talk about Chevron. What is it? CVX? Huge gap upward today. ExxonMobil, XOM. Huge gap and a rise today. Look at this gap filling in action. It's pretty impressive. And what was the other one? It had a weird name. ConocoPhillips. What even is the ticker here? I never heard of this company. ConocoPhillips, COP. Same deal. Huge gap, rise, etc. This is a gasoline company, right? Exploration production company which engages in exploration, production, transport, and marketing of crude oil, bitumen, and natural gas, la la la. How about Occidental Petroleum? Did we have any rise? Kind of. What do you call this chart pattern? Anyway. Impressive. Okay. Warren Buffett would not be happy. Moving on from that. There's been more protests going on. People that are in favor of what's going on. People that are against, of course, what's going on. We've discussed this before, but I want to talk about this here specifically because it's, first of all, happening in New York City, and the liberals are funny, man, what they're doing. First of all, Venezuelans themselves, they're saying, look, we're happy that Maduro is gone. And then the Democrats are like, no, you don't know anything. We're protecting Maduro now. Before it was the No Kings protests, and now it's defend the dictator. Before it was, we're wearing the COVID masks, we're getting our vaccines, we're supporting Ukraine, we're supporting Palestine, we're supporting Mexico, we're supporting, what was the other country? Somalia. Waving all those flags around all the time. And now we're supporting Venezuela. So they're always picking something that's just anti-Trump, right? Oh, did you see this? In this universe of 1990, never? I don't remember. With Trump, that's pretty funny. And the people are like, come on, bring the Venezuelan ladies over here, but the Democrats are standing in the way is the meme, basically. It's this. Most political issues nowadays can be explained by understanding that American leftists, they don't have positions, they just have oppositions. Which is true. We've seen that, especially in the rhetoric of 2024 elections, right? Donald Trump had all these visions, all the stuff that he could offer, ways to fix the United States, basically. What did Kamala Harris have to offer? Oh, Trump is a rapist, Trump is bad, Trump orange man, and Trump bad, and I give money to black people. That's all it really was. And we were like, okay, what are we doing here? That's the way I viewed it, at least. I don't know. Their entire belief system is defined by a negation of whatever the right supports. This is why Portland chants Free Maduro, while actual Venezuelans celebrate in the streets, which we have seen. They're not pro-Venezuelan or pro-democracies or pro-tyrant or pro-Maduro. They're just simply anti-American right. Whatever the right is doing, we're going to do the opposite. Is basically what the left has been doing. And here's just examples that I'm not going to read over all that. But here's, like, for example, other protests, not just in New York City, but also in Portland, Oregon. And I'm pretty sure half these people are not even Venezuelan. Free Maduro, free him now. Meanwhile, Venezuelans in their home nation are cheering for their newfound freedom. All right, pal. And it's literally this. This is what Reddit feels like today. Silence Venezuelans. An American liberal is talking. So, yeah, you get the point. I just slapped my mic. What else has been going on? Venezuela has ordered police to locate and arrest anyone accused of supporting a U.S. attack under an emergency decree. So, high tensions going on over there, especially we've heard reports of gunfire in Miraflores and Caracas. According to testimony, though, from local residents, the gunfire and assemblage of military forces in Miraflores was just a result of a misunderstanding caused by a civilian drone. So, they're really paranoid. The tensions are high over there right now. Here's a funny theory, or maybe it's true. Because we do know that Trump said that Venezuela will currently be run by the United States. It's interesting how he did not immediately go for Maria Corina Machado to be the leader, right? It seems like we're going to have a new set of elections for Venezuela after we fix whatever is going on over there, right? White House officials have said that the reason Trump did not back Maria Machado for president of Venezuela is that she accepted the coveted Nobel Peace Prize, which was an award that Trump felt he was entitled to. Which is true, right? He said that if she had turned it down and said, I can't accept it because it's Donald Trump's, she would be the president of Venezuela today. Although she did say, I dedicate this prize to Donald Trump and to the peacemakers or something like that. Seems like it wasn't enough. She just should not have accepted it and just given it to Trump instead, right? But she accepted it and Trump will not forgive her for that. Pretty funny. Here's a current update on Maduro. Man, he changes outfits like every hour. It's so funny. His first statements in court. He says, I was captured at my home in Caracas, Venezuela, Maduro declared, maintaining his innocence in the U.S. drug terrorism case. Maduro stated, I am innocent. I'm an honest man. I'm the president. I am the president of Venezuela. I consider myself a prisoner of war. I was taken from my home in Caracas. He told the court that he had not previously seen the indictment and was unaware of his legal rights. This is one funny thing that he said. He's also like, Maduro was allegedly impressed with the amount of rights that a prisoner has in the United States, which is true. I mean, you could even have transgender surgery in prison. Like, it's gotten to that point. Maduro's wife, Celia Flores, also pleaded not guilty to the charges of illegal cocaine trafficking in the U.S., Reuters reports. Both Maduro and Flores are requesting consular assistance from the Venezuelan embassy. Imagine. That's so funny. New outfits. Okay. Stuff like that has been going on, and, well, we know that he will be held in that same prison where P. Diddy was. Apparently, there's a lot of people that have been in that prison in, what do I call it? MDC Brooklyn. Metropolitan Detention. What does it stand for again? I gotta look it up. MDC Brooklyn. Yeah, Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. 6ix9ine, the rapper, will be going there tomorrow, apparently. He will be held at the same jail as Nicolas Maduro, and Luigi Mangione apparently was also there. This is the guy who killed the CEO of United Healthcare. Remember that? And his sentence will be on January 6th for Mr. 6ix9ine over there. About to have the best basketball team the prison has ever seen. I mean, who else was in there? Hang on, dude, I just closed my YouTube. I think I'm fine still. As long as my OBS is open. Who else was in there? It was, so we got P. Diddy in there. You have Sam Bankman-Fried. These are crypto criminals. Terra Luna, Do Kwon, he was also in there. I forgot to mention that the other day. I was like, who else was there? Was another crypto criminal. It was Do Kwon. Also held in that detention center. It's crazy. All of these people, and now Maduro will be there too. And then also there's this other rapper, 6ix9ine. Crazy. I wanted to point out some differences or similarities, I don't know, between these Canadian leaders. So we got Pierre Poilievre, of course, leader of Conservative Party. Mark Carney, current leader in power, the Liberal Party. 1 seat away from majority government, by the way. If we just get one more person to resign or switch teams, which a lot of that has been going on last year. Pierre Poilievre's post about Venezuela on Twitter got 64,500 likes. Mark Carney's post about Venezuela got 8,500 likes. And I've talked about both posts in their respective times, right? In fairness, of course, Mark Carney did post it a bit later. Like Pierre Poilievre posted it 2 days ago. Carney posted it 1 day ago. So maybe the recency bias. But seems like numbers don't lie. Canada's true leader appears to be Pierre Poilievre. People care more about what he has to say than Mark Carney. Another thing you can notice about the two is the check marks. He's got the government check mark and Mark Carney does not, and that's what this post talks about. He has the government badge on X and Mark Carney just has a blue check mark. So even Elon Musk knows who the real leader of Canada, I think he's missing the leader, who the real leader of Canada is. Did you guys know as well, I always bring this up, it's so funny, if you go to liar.com, I don't know if they patched this yet. It's loading. There we go. My hands are off the keyboard, by the way. It goes straight to Mark Carney's Twitter page. How crazy is that? I'm going to try it again, dude. Liar.com goes immediately to Mark Carney's Twitter page. How crazy is that? So funny. And yes, no government badge check mark. Imagine. You're not even, he's not even recognized as the leader. Another thing is that we're seeing the United States taking over all these countries, right? They just took over Venezuela. They're talking about Cuba. They're extensively talking about Greenland to the point where I don't have a post brought up for it, but even Denmark is like really concerned. They're like, dude, we're a part of NATO. You're basically NATO attacking NATO. Can we just have this discussion in a meeting if you really want to take over Greenland? It's not for sale. And people are like, well, who says that? We're going to buy it, huh? We're going to take over it by force because, you know, we need to control the seas. There's a lot of Russian and Chinese ships all around. So we need it for national security. We need to annex Greenland, basically. There's that. There's also talks about Panama, the Panama Canal, maybe even Mexico. We've been talking about as well. People are like, please get Sheinbaum out next. She's also drug cartel, criminal, corrupt lady. So what other people do. Remember the protests that were happening in Mexico? That was also a thing. Colombia as well now. Gustavo Petro is like, come on, you coward. Come capture me. Capture me next. And Trump's like, okay, well, you're begging for it. He's a nasty guy, and he's probably going to get kidnapped as well. He's going to take all these leaders and take all their countries, annex all these countries. He's basically going to take over the whole Western Hemisphere, right? North and Southern continent. And the fact that he's taking over Greenland, and then there's Alaska, which is basically all surrounding Canada with America. The fact that Alberta is also trying to separate, Quebec is also trying to separate. There's separatists that don't want to be recognized as Canada, right? Canada's probably also next to falling apart, internally crumbling, especially under this bad leadership. It's probably just going to get annexed by the United States as well. There's always the talk about the 51st state. And even Trump said, hey, never say never to Mark Carney, right? Whenever they had that meeting. It's going to happen, dude. I don't know. It'd be pretty funny if it does. Talking about a corrupt leadership here. Chrystia Freeland. She went to Europe, which we saw. She was in talks about resigning, and it seems like it's finally happening here. She just got named as the economic advisor for Ukraine by President Zelensky himself. How crazy is that? What is this woman doing? So I already gave a brief summary of her, right? She was the deputy prime minister of Canada with Trudeau. She resigns from Trudeau. Trudeau also ends up giving up because his government just started collapsing, right? Mark Carney takes over. He's like, oh, it was either Chrystia Freeland or Mark Carney that would become the prime minister of Canada. The Liberal Party ended up deciding, you know what? We're going with Mark Carney. It seems like he's probably more fit to stand up against Trump. They ran under that rhetoric. So he became unelected, by the way, leader of the Liberal Party, which would essentially make him prime minister of Canada for a while. Then people were like, this is unfair, call an election. He waited strategically while Trump was placing tariffs to basically say, guys, I'm the better candidate that would stand up against Trump. Okay, fine. He wins the election, arguably perfectly timed. Sure, Pierre Poilievre loses, and then nothing happens. He just goes and he's like, okay, Trump, yep, okay, yeah, nice. And that's it. Like, we get even more tariffs, and this was Trump's plan all along. He wanted a weak leader so that if he did want to, he would annex Canada as well in there. Chrystia Freeland is appointed Ministry of Transportation under Mark Carney, which is the most useless role I've ever heard in my life, but whatever. Then she resigns, and now she moved to Europe, and now it looks like she's going to Ukraine. Zelensky, there you go, shaking hands with her. Oh, here's an actual tweet. Today, I appointed Chrystia Freeland as an advisor on economic development. Dude, the money laundering continues. This is not going to get any better. But hey, at least she's not our problem anymore. Chrystia is a highly skilled in these matters and has extensive experience in attracting investment and implementing economic transformations. Of course, right? Look what she did to Canada. It's perfect. We have so much investment over here and such a good economy. Ukraine needs to strengthen its internal resilience, both for the sake of Ukraine's recovery, if diplomacy delivers results as swiftly as possible, and to reinforce our defense, because of delays by our partners due this quality is... Nice, that's the max quality. Thanks, Zelensky. I could probably just pull up his own tweet, but I'm almost done. It takes longer to bring this war to an end. I'm grateful to everyone who is ready to support our state and our engagement with partners. Glory to Ukraine. Okay, pal. All right. So there's that. People are also asking, well, she's currently still holding a seat in the Canadian Parliament, right? How can she, being a member of Parliament, work for a foreign government at the same time? That's a conflict of interest, doesn't make sense, especially since her main job will be increasing donations from Canadian taxpayers over to Ukraine, which is true. We just gave the guy, Zelensky, $2.5 billion like 2 weeks ago. And here's your answer. She is resigning as a member of Parliament, so... Liberals, I guess, lost a seat unless another Liberal replaces it. I don't know which riding she has. I could probably look that up. Chrystia Freeland MP riding? Is that the right word? University Rosedale, a federal electoral district in Ontario. Where is this? I don't know. We have so many districts in Ontario. It's the most populated province. Like half the country lives here. This is the same evil witch who laughed on camera as she announced she was freezing Canadian bank accounts during the trucker protests. Remember that? Like post-COVID, there were the trucker protests. And she was the one in charge of freezing the bank accounts. She was the ministry of... No, she was the deputy prime minister back then, yeah. And now she's moving to Ukraine to join Zelensky's government. She won't be missed? Sure. I agree. Okay, jump scare warning. Let's go. This fellow, or fella, I don't know, William Defour, 26-year-old, was charged after trying to break into Vice President J.D. Vance's Ohio home. He was using a hammer to break the windows. Crazy. He looks like Call Me Carson. You know that? Oh my gosh, these edits. They're so good. What is this? What am I looking at? Alright. Anyways, yeah, poor J.D. Vance getting attacked over here. Apparently, he is, he. Suspect arrested for attempting to break into the home of Vice President J.D. Vance. William Defour was reportedly transgender and went by the name Julia. Here is the, what is this, Facebook page? Julia Defour. You're going to a male prison. Oh, this is what I was looking for. Well, oh well. Changing subject, sorry for my disorganization. The notable inmates held at the MDC Brooklyn prison that I was talking about. So it's P. Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs. Luigi Mangione was there currently. Nicolas Maduro. El Chapo Guzman apparently was there. Michael Cohen. Where have I heard this name before? A lawyer. He was a lawyer for Donald Trump. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's where I've heard this guy's name before. He's a lawyer for Trump. Okay. Trump's lawyer was there. Ghislaine Maxwell was there. I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. Sam Bankman-Fried was there. R. Kelly. We also know Terra Luna Do Kwon guy is there. And yeah. 6ix9ine will be there. Nicolas Maduro is there. So is Luigi Mangione. What is happening with Luigi? Are we giving him the death penalty or what? Where is Tyler Robinson being held? Charlie Kirk's assassin. Where is Tyler Robinson imprisoned? In Utah? No, that's where that shooting happened. He is, I know he's arrested, and do they just not want to tell you? Okay, don't care. It's not in Brooklyn, MDC, either way. Okay, moving on from that. Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're going to talk about some going out with a bang. People resigning. So we saw Chrystia Freeland going out with a bang, joining Ukraine and leaving Canada. Nice. Marjorie Taylor Greene has introduced a bill that would eliminate H-1B visa program. The H-1B visa program. And she is also leaving Congress today. I think it was January 6th, the day that she was going to leave. Today's January 5th, but her last day in office, and this is what she's doing, presenting a bill to eliminate the H-1B visa program. Going out with a bang. That's pretty crazy. She'll be missed. Governor Tim Walz has officially announced that he will not be running for a third term. There we go. We bullied the man out of office, kind of. He's just not running for re-election. Nancy Pelosi is not. Governor Tim Walz is not running for re-election. The world is healing. I don't know. Trump posted this about Minnesota. Minnesota's corrupt governor, that's Tim Walz, will possibly leave office before his term is up. But in any event, he will not be running again because he was caught red-handed, along with Ilhan Omar and others of his Somali friends, stealing tens of billions of taxpayer dollars. We talked extensively about the Somalian fraud. I feel certain the facts will come out, and they will reveal a seriously unscrupulous and rich group of slime balls. Governor Walz has destroyed the state of Minnesota, but others, like Governor Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, and Kathy Hochul, have done, in my opinion, an even more dishonest and incompetent job. No one is above the law. Not even Trump. Okay. So there you go. Moving on to crypto news. Eric Trump posted or reposted what American Bitcoin's holdings were. They've increased their total Bitcoin reserve to 5,427 Bitcoins They've achieved a yield of 105% from its NASDAQ debut on September 3rd through January 2nd. How much more did you buy? Okay, whatever. He says, in just 4 months, we built one of the fastest growing and strongest Bitcoin companies on Earth. It's kind of true. Have you seen the mining warehouse? It's pretty impressive. Proud to announce that ABTC just leaped to the number 19 largest public Bitcoin treasury, surpassing Kindly MD. Naka, I don't know what that is. But we did beat GameStop, which I remember, and some other irrelevant companies. Disciplined accumulation, relentless execution, the best is yet to come. The next two targets is Next Technology and Galaxy Holdings. I have never heard of those either, but hey, good. Keep accumulating more Bitcoin. You'll do well in the future, Mr. Eric Trump. Michael Saylor confirms that MicroStrategy has acquired 1,287 Bitcoins. I think that's a lot of money, right? Raising total holdings to 673,783 Bitcoins. Almost as much as what Venezuela allegedly has. Oh, that is as much as what they have, a little bit more. They increased their USD reserves by $62 million as well. That's a good buy. Do we know these specifics? I feel like it's missing some information. 90% chance that Bitcoin reclaims 100,000. Oh, what is my Polymarket bet at right now? Dude, I'm probably making bank. Oh, yes, I am. $40. Okay. Having only put 200. How much money is that? How do I do the math here? I put $271. I'm just gonna manually guess, dude. Give me a 20%. That's 325. I have 312. It's almost a 20% rise, let's just say. And I base this off of my brain. Hey, that's not bad. Do I wait for us to hit 100,000? I think we're going to slow down our rise, and we're about to go to war in the Middle East either way. Selling that, Bitcoin dropping to 65,000 in your dreams. That is not happening. Not on my watch. It literally can't happen. Historically speaking, it just can't happen. We cannot drop below the election day price. It's just never happened. And then in this case, it's 66,000. Bitcoin will not go below 66,000 ever. Ever in its history. It's just not going to happen. Unless the whole... I don't know. What would cause Bitcoin to crash that much? Quantum computing? Satoshi? That's about it. And like that's ever going to happen. Am I right? I also took some profits on some meme coin holdings with Pump Fund. They had a good rise today too. That was nice. Making money left and right. Oh yeah, I was gonna look at MicroStrategy. Look how badly sidetracked I get. Tell me how much you purchased. Okay, they didn't even post. How about Michael? Here we go. Oh, okay, you're not specifying. Thanks, man. 1287. Assuming you bought at 90,000. That's not a lot of money, actually. I thought it was going to be more. I thought it was $1 billion at least. That's not that much. 115 million. I know, right? I'm saying that 115 million is not a lot of money. When you start thinking big, you start realizing that money is fake. World's highest IQ holder. I don't know if I believe this guy no more. Young-Hoon Kim says that Bitcoin will reach $100,000 in the next 48 hours. Well, that kind of correlates to that other Polymarket thing that I saw. Not this. Where's that other post? Here. Here. 90% chance that Bitcoin reclaims 100,000. He thinks that's going to happen in the next 48 hours. And this is not even the right guy, is it? This looks like the Metaplanet CEO. Right? Young-Hoon Kim. Oh, it is him. Okay, never mind. Sorry, might be racist. Okay, I didn't know. I thought it was... He literally looks like the Metaplanet CEO. I think it's Metaplanet CEO. Oh, come on, dude. I'm just gonna look it up. Metaplanet CEO. Never mind, dude. I'm thinking of someone else. I don't remember who he reminds me of. Whatever. Okay. Will this happen? No, I don't think it will. My IQ is probably the same as an orangutan, but I don't think that Bitcoin is gonna hit $100,000 based off my own analysis. In the next 48 hours specifically, no. He was also kind of wrong. He did predict that Bitcoin would hit $150,000 last year, riding the bandwagon that everybody else did. Obviously, we couldn't have predicted specifically how high it would rise or how well it would do. Nobody would have guessed that we were going to drop to 80,000 by year end. So, you know, it was contradictory to what everybody's analysis was, which just goes to show anybody else's analysis doesn't mean that it has to be true. Only my analysis is true, and that's why I make more money than you. I'm just kidding. I don't know anything, and I lost a lot of money last year, but that's fine. We're here to recover it. Bitmine Immersion acquired 32,977 Ethereum, $104 million worth last week, bringing total holdings to a lot of money, $13 billion, representing roughly 3.4% of the total Ethereum supply. I once again throw out the question, what is 3.4% of infinity? You tell me. I get it's the current circulation, but there will always be more minted. Did you guys know that the Venezuelan stock exchange, I didn't know that this existed in the first place, but it does, it ends the day up 17% as markets react to the US capturing their president. That was the Monday open for the Venezuelan stock market. They clearly love the fact that Maduro is gone, okay? Don't listen to what the left has to say. Bitcoin pumped $7,000 in the first 5 days of 2026. I'll admit this is a strong start. I'm really hoping an October 10th situation doesn't happen. Would be a shame if it does, wouldn't it? It's now up 8% in 5 days, with $500 million worth of short liquidations in the past 24 hours, the biggest one in the last 3 months. I think it's still a lot of short pressure due to the funding rate that we currently have. It is negative, meaning that there are more short positions open than long positions, likely. It seems like an algo reset happened on January 1st, which somehow stopped all the relentless selling and manipulation. Which is true. We're seeing a lot of ETF inflows, and I've pointed that out yesterday. We didn't have today's numbers, so I'll have a look at it today. The only number we will be missing is... this is the wrong one. BlackRock's numbers. Farsight ETF. Here we go. Hey, 324 million inflow so far, and I bet my bank account that BlackRock absolutely purchased today. That's for Bitcoin. What is this, my guy? Ethereum inflows as well, 65 million today so far. Lovely. Solana, probably not a lot, but still, hey, 16 million. Okay, now we're talking. I think that's the most ever. Or at least recently. Solana ETFs are back to being strong. I mean, it explains the move close to $140 once again. You realize the fundamentals are so much stronger this time around. The only thing that's holding us back is a potential war and just the tokenomics of every coin itself, if it's inflationary or not. Like, yeah, we're going to have a good run up, but Aptos will not reach its highs that it's hit before. We notice the inflationary correlation pattern, stuff like that, right? I don't know. Pick another very inflationary one. I almost said Polymarket. Polygon, Matic, Polkadot, Sui. I'm sure there's more. Plasma, for that matter, if you even care about that anymore. How is Plasma? What are we doing with Plasma? Oh, we're down 2%. Generational buying opportunity? Nope. Not yet. If you really care, $16. Sub $16, good entry for XPL, as long as we stay above, of course, 1581. Yeah, I like it so far. Very bullish momentum. What did it say here? If we hold 94K, if we close above 94K level for bullish momentum to continue towards 100,000. I don't know if I agree with that. We're not going to close above 94,000, at least not for the day. And even if we do, I still don't think that that's just going to confirm a movement to 100,000, at least not within the next 48 hours, as Young Hoon Kim speculates. I'm expecting a move downward first, minimum 89,000. I would be buying between 89 or 90,000, would be optimal, and this is what I would like. We're very overbought, we deserve a drop. For a healthy, uptrend to continue upwards, right? It's a strong uptrend, but I don't know. A lot of this is the FOMO and a lot of short liquidations happening. There's still a lot of sell pressure, hence the negative funding rate, but we still have an uptrend in our favor, meaning that I'm not alone when I say that I will be buying between 89 to 90,000. I'm sure a lot of institutionals will too, because they watch my streams and they listen to what I have to say. They've even stop hunted me for crying out loud. So I'm the victim here. I'm kidding. So there's that. Can we have an alt season this year? It's possible. I don't think we will. I would define alt season. You mean like everything 10xing? We're very overbought on it all. Sure, we'll have a good run, but I don't think we're going to see like... What defines an alt season for me is Bitcoin dominance dropping to like 30%. It's on its way down currently, deserved, because every altcoin has been very oversold, and we're starting to see them outperform a little bit once again. They're starting to, you know, dip their toes in the water to try to get their prices up. Like we just saw Hyperliquid flip its trend over, right? Very late, but it's on its way there. Some were starting off strong, like Aptos Zcash, with an early flip in its trend compared to how long it took for Bitcoin to do that. But even Bitcoin now has a positive trend, an uptrend. So that should, you know, start helping more altcoins to continue rising once again. Now, alt season for me, like I said, would be anything below, okay, I said 30%, whatever, 54% down to 30%. Anything below 30% I feel like might be a little unhealthy, but we've seen it happen. Like lowest point was 35 at peak alt season, January 2018. And then for 2021, we've seen that 38%. That's where I got the 30 thing from. But of course, anything where, you know, price rips through it like this, like it has multiple times over here, the 54% level, I just randomly put that level there. It's not specific. Doesn't have to be that specific level, but I'd still point towards that. Bitcoin dominance would have to drop by 8%, which we've been pretty close to seeing, right? December of 2024, we all thought was a really good, I don't want to say season, a good season for alts, a good time period for alts, right? Everything was at its peak, right? Most alts made a lot of all-time highs during that run. Also in, you know, June, August, September, maybe even October, until the big crash happened. Then Bitcoin dominance, you know, kind of spiked back up, and we've been relatively high ever since, hovering close to or at 60% dominance for Bitcoin. As this drops, I would be obviously more inclined to believe that we would see an alt season, but we would need a lot of factors to do that, and not every alt will have its alt season. Only the actually important projects might. Or I don't know, we're getting a lot of liquidity this year too. We'll see what this post talks about, and then we'll opine on it later. I'm just jumping to conclusions before I even read what's going to happen. But that's my take on it so far. The historical cycle most people forget. Altcoin cycles don't start randomly. They usually start after the others to Bitcoin bottoms and breaks out. In Q4 2016, Alt BTC bottomed. I don't think it's the same as Bitcoin dominance, but yeah. 2016. Oh, well, I'm sure we're talking about this. July. No, Q4. Whatever. The breakout came soon after, and Q1 to Q2 2017 turned into a strong altcoin run. In Q4 2020, the same thing happened. The Alt BTC bottomed again, it broke its downtrend, and Q1 to Q2 2021 became the next major alt cycle. Both times the pattern was clear. Bottom first, breakout, altcoins outperform Bitcoin in the following quarters. Do we have an image? We do. Number 2. Where are we now in 2026? So Alt BTC has been in a downtrend for almost 4 years. RSI is in the most oversold ever point in its history. MACD turning green after 21 months. Possible bullish crossover. The downtrend appears to have bottomed in Q4 2025, and it is now very close to breaking out. That's what a lot of other people have also pointed out, right? We did point the uptrend in this over here, seeming like it was trying to bounce. I don't think it was specifically in this chart, but it was something like that. The structure looks very similar 2 periods right before previous altcoin runs. Number 3, the Russell 2000 connection. Now look at equities. So Russell 2000 is trading above its previous all-time high, and it's holding well. This index matters because it reflects risk appetite. If you don't know what Russell 2000 is, it's the 2000 companies with low caps, right? Businesses that are high risk, high reward, right? If you're an institutional investor, you would only invest in that instead of crypto, for example. If you're feeling, I'm feeling like I want to risk some more because there's easy money flowing right now. Money is not tight and we don't have a restrictive monetary policy, right? In late 2016, the Russell broke out first. Altcoins followed in 2017. So we're seeing kind of the same pattern, right? People have extra money to spend. They're willing to, make riskier bets or riskier investments. These are not bets, okay? This is not gambling. We study this market, okay? Anyway. The similar... I said that. No, yes. The similar Russell breakout has happened again in Q4 2025. This time, Russell breakout was delayed by 1 year. Why the cycle feels delayed? Many expected this setup in 2024, but key triggers were missing. The Fed balance sheet was still contracting, liquidity was tight, and risk appetite was low. Those conditions only started improving toward the end of 2025. So the cycle is not broken, it was just shifted forward by about 1 year. So that explains why we ended the year in the red for 2025. So why year 26 could be the year of the alts? Right now we have Alt BTC bottoming in Q4 2025, Russell 2000 breaking out in Q4 2025, liquidity starting to improve, which I've pointed out, potential regulatory clarity heading into 2026, which we have also discussed. Early in this quarter, we do expect some of these builds to pass. None of this guarantees an alt season though, but historically when these pieces lined up together, alts did go on a big rally. If you say so, I'll agree with the liquidity part and the easing. It's also, I guess it's also important to look at Russell 2000. It does make sense to take it into account, of course. But I don't think every alt will do super well. It's only going to be a select few good projects. My last post would be Ledger getting hacked. Ledger had another data breach via payment processor Global E leaking. Leaking the personal data of customers, so name and other contact information. You would get an email like this if you were impacted. I don't think I got one, so I'm probably not impacted, but whatever. Global E recently identified unusual activity on a portion of our network. Immediately after we became aware of the unusual activity in our cloud systems, we took action to contain and ultimately secure our systems. We retained independent forensic experts to conduct an investigation into the incident, and we were able to determine that some personal data, including name and contact information, were improperly accessed. Oh no. We have more information on it. That was reported by ZachXBT. New data breach. Its payment processor, Global E, was hacked. I don't use this Global E, so that's probably why I'm safe. Okay. I don't know if they've already fixed it or what, but yeah, that was another issue. Hurts your reputation if you do get hacked. So, hey, companies, don't get hacked. It's just name and contact info, so you might just get your phone number sold into the dark, what do you call it? The black market, deep web, dark web, and you're gonna get scam callers. I get plenty either way. It's like I only pay a phone subscription just to get scam calls and once in a while call my dad. That's it. But it's fine. I have a very cheap plan that's very economic. I like it. First time. Move to Trezor if you haven't already. Alright, pal. Don't tell me what to do. So that's what we got for Bitcoin. That's all the moves for today. Interesting. Hey, did you know as well? Because I did kind of touch on the subject of Polymarket. Okay, now I'm suddenly not even logged in anymore. Thanks, Polymarket. What was I going to look up? Oh, yes. Yes. we may or may not have found who the insider trader of that Polymarket bet was. What I'm referencing is before Maduro got captured, there was a huge bet placed on Polymarket that said Maduro out by January 31st of 2026. A huge bet for something within the same month to happen, and it literally happened the next morning, was a very suspicious trade, of course. There was an insider trade that happened, and the guy profited massively. He made $400,000 on Maduro's capture at Polymarket. It could turn out to be someone connected to Stephen Charles Witkoff, who is the co-founder at World Liberty Financial. There you go. Insider trader at World Liberty Financial. It's not the first time that people at World Liberty Finance were accused of insider trading. We had the same deal happen literally on October 10th. Before Trump announced the 100% tariff on China, which crashed the entire altcoin market by 90% minimum, World Liberty Financial and other Trump-related crypto projects like the Trump meme, Melania, they had a huge crash. As soon as Trump talked about, I'm not happy with what China is doing. Now, he didn't announce the tariffs yet, but he said, we're going to take action pretty soon. Yeah, it made the markets go red, but we didn't have like a historic liquidation. But World Liberty Financial did have a huge liquidation. It's like somebody from the Trump family knew that Trump was about to place a tariff on China of 100%, and it just wasn't announced yet. The guy sold his position, mass domino effect, selling long liquidations. Okay, great. Had its crash early that morning. And then in the afternoon, or in the evening rather, when the markets were closed, the traditional markets, after 4 o'clock p.m., so I think it was at 5 o'clock, Trump announces the tariff on China, crashes the whole market on October 10, the whole altcoin market, because that's the only thing that's open 24/7, and when it was on a Friday. So that happened, and World Liberty Finance, it had a secondary crash, but it wasn't as bad as the first one, right, in terms of magnitude. So somebody knew something, and it's linked to World Liberty Financial. So that's what I wanted to point out over here. The entire crypto Twitter was talking about yesterday about an insider who placed around $32,000 just a few hours before the well-known events in Venezuela, earning a total of $400,000. Imagine, huge return, man. There's the insider's account if you care. There's the hyperlink if you want to copy and paste all that. I don't care. The market where he won the $400,000, it was this one right over here. This is what I wanted to pull up. Maduro out by January 31st, 2026. Boom. And anybody else who betted over here, of course, would have won, but the biggest bet was done over here. 10 million volume, almost $11 million of trading volume there. Decided to dig into the chain in search of any clues. You found two wallets that were funding that Polymarket account. It was this one and this one. Both accounts have no transactions other than funding from the Coinbase exchange and the subsequent deposit to Polymarket. It's crazy how you can do this kind of detective work on the blockchain. That's the beauty of it. Zcash solves this, by the way. I noticed that the second wallet was funded from Coinbase with 252 Solanas on January 1st at 11:53 p.m. Literally the night before. Decided to check all deposits to Coinbase within a day before the insider's wallet withdrawal and found one match with 99% accuracy. Is this wallet. From this wallet, there was a deposit to Coinbase through a deposit address of 252 Solana on January 1st, meaning that approximately 23 hours before the withdrawal to the insider's wallet. I noticed that this wallet had several registered ENS domains. Okay, dude. Moving to the ladder, we see how long is this? Okay, here we go. Moving to the ladder, we see transactions of $11 million with someone with ENS, Ethereum name service. I think that's what it is. StephenCharles.Sol. Yeah, Ethereum name service. It's basically like instead of having an address, you have a username kind of deal, I think. And Stephen Charles, or Stephen Charles Witkoff, is one of the co-founders of World Liberty Financial, meaning a person who potentially had access to insider information. And you can literally look at it over here. Stephen Witkoff. There's also Zach Witkoff, Alex Witkoff. Am I thinking of who is the ambassador of the United States? It is Steve Witkoff, right? Ambassador to the USA. Steve Witkoff. How do you spell Witkoff? Dude, I don't know. It is with a K. He is a special envoy to the Middle East. That's who he is. Steve Witkoff. That's where I've heard this name before. And he's there. Stephen Charles Witkoff. Is that his full name? Oh, we can see his net worth. 2 billion. My gosh. Flashbang warning. Yeah, Stephen Charles Witkoff. That is indeed the man. And if we go to World Liberty Financial, give me the about section. No, okay, fine. Just tell me the founders. Come on, company, about. Here we are. Stephen Witkoff, indeed he is there. Detective work in real time. Oh, Stephen Witkoff, with your $2 billion, you made an extra $400,000. Come on, dude. Get a job. All three wallets are connected by the same deposit address on the Coinbase exchange. From the insider account on Polymarket, the winnings of approximately $440,000 were withdrawn to Coinbase 18 hours ago. 14 hours ago, Bartcoin tokens worth $170 were withdrawn from Coinbase to the stvlu.sol, St. Charles, St. Charles, not St. Charles, right? Stephen Charles Witkoff wallet. Bro is also trading Fartcoin, dude. This is our special envoy to the Middle East, by the way. Another coincidence? Or was part of the profits from insider trading on Polymarket used to buy Fartcoin? Maybe for money laundering, I don't know. How are you going to do it with Fartcoin? Anyway. In total, we have several interesting coincidences. The amount of the deposit to Coinbase and the amount withdrawn to the insider's wallet for the deposit to Polymarket match with 99% accuracy with a 23-hour difference. The Ethereum name service or Solana name service, StephenCharles.sol, stcharles.sol, on these wallets match with Stephen Charles Witkoff, the name. Together with the first point, such a coincidence looks strange, doesn't it? The time interval between the withdrawal of the winnings from Polymarket to Coinbase and the receipt of Fartcoin to the stvlu.sol wallet is 3 to 4 hours. Your take? Are these just coincidences, or is really someone connected to Stephen Witkoff using insider information to trade on Polymarket? I'm sure he knew something. Come on, brother. Okay. Yeah. Imagine if it was Barron, though. I mean, we have accused Barron Trump of insider trading in the past. Oh, it's not this email. Come on, it's so cringe that you get signed out in your own personal computer. So how much did I make here? I made like $40, right? I think so. W trade, by the way. Can we see your history? Yes. From 279 to 301. 309. $38. Okay. That's a W trade in my books. I'm happy with today. Oh, I've been streaming for a long time. Okay, guys, that is enough for tonight. That is all. Interesting developments. Middle East war next. Prepare for a big fat crash. When did he say that that was going to happen? Was it like... He said within the next 72 hours, right? Iran... Don't give me the protest. Give me the warning. Come on. That's not it. You know what? Israel, United States. Give me the thing, the time frame. What was the time frame? What was the time frame? I can't find it. Okay. Whatever. I think it mentioned 72 hours. They're expecting an attack. And Ayatollah Khamenei, he's prepared to leave to Moscow. He's already got his trip planned. He's, I think, more in fear of the protests, which, or maybe he's also fearing the attack that might happen. I don't know. But something might happen in Iran soon. They're at a not a strong point right now, right? I'm sure they're still recovering from after being bombed last year. And they're pretty weak, and the whole city, the whole country is in revolt against them, and more people likely to be in favor of a regime change. They might carry out more decapitation strikes. Maybe Khamenei will flee and give up the country. They'll establish a pro-Israel government there, I guess, that doesn't want war with Israel. I don't know, man. Something is going to happen. We shall see. Hey, didn't I had something, hold on, before I actually end this all. I think I had a reverse Fibonacci here. Yeah, 98,000 is another resistance for Bitcoin, by the way, if you care. After breaking this, we're going to 98,000. 95,000. If there's no war, if everything continues going up as normal, 98,000 is your next resistance. Breaking, of course, 95,000 for Bitcoin. I think I forgot to kind of mention that in my first analysis. Okay. Great. Okay, that is it for today then. I will not see you guys tomorrow, actually. I will be busy tomorrow. So I will see you instead on Wednesday. Nothing's happening tomorrow either way. We'll see what happens with the Middle East. Any other developments on Venezuela, I'll also update you. Biggest volatility day will happen on Friday. We're getting a lot of stuff. Non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, and building permits, housing starts, if you care about that. Yeah, and consumer sentiment. Good. And then next week, Tuesday, inflation. Core inflation, CPI, and then PPI on Wednesday. Good. Getting good economic data soon. Hopefully Chainlink starts rising. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe. I'll see you Wednesday then. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye.